There are a lot of horror stories at the moment about famous fitness influencers and athletes that are doing slightly more explosive training and they get hurt, they get injured very flipping quickly. I think that's one of the insidious parts of this type of work. If you try to do 100 meters and you're untrained, not only are you likely to not run very quick, you are likely to get hurt. And I think that's one of the reasons that people avoid it, is because it is just that much more dangerous.
Running obviously isn't a new pursuit, but it wasn't that long ago that I think it was actually mocked within the functional fitness space. And I can honestly say that I have never seen a resurgence of a particular activity like I have of running in recent years. Running far is definitely cool, and I'm happy to ride the wave of that being trendy in the fitness industry. I can definitely understand why. But what about running fast? It's the element of human performance that is the first to fall when you get into your 30s. There are a few reasons why I believe that is, which we'll cover in today's video. And although some of those reasons, which we'll get to, I believe are valid, I personally refuse to throw in the towel on being able to run quickly. That being said, right now, I can't. My Achilles are very beaten up. I had a hell of a lot of stem cells in them over recent years. And my hips and lower back tend to scream at me every single stride. But I'm doing some of the right rehab stuff to hopefully fix at least some of that, or at least mitigate it behind the scenes. And in terms of being able to run quick and move from A to B a little bit sharper, the Red Devil ground of the athletics track has to be the venue to do that, right?
Even as recently as like 10 years ago, I remember when I was late 20s, made of flipping rubber and magic, one of the things that made this type of training easy was that you're just always warm and supple, and you are a lot more elastic when you're young, and that is one of the physiological side effects of getting older, is that everything becomes a little bit more concrete, right? So in theory, you do actually have more potential for strength. This is why powerlifters, world's strongest man competitors, you can kind of keep doing strongman and like maximum strength sports until you're like mid-40s. Anything that is super explosive and super elastic, that's the stuff that realistically, when you become a little bit more made of concrete as you get older, that becomes harder. Obviously, there are a couple of ways that we can still do this type of work as we do get older, a few amendments that need to be made. And that's going to be obviously the main topic of what I want to share with you today in my kind of explosiveness session. But before we even go down that road, it's just about making sure that you have the most comprehensive warm-up. You can't just jump into something that's super explosive when your tissues aren't particularly elastic, especially if you haven't done this stuff in a while. Hamstrings and Achilles realistically are going to be the areas that are probably going to go either with any kind of acceleration stuff, jump stuff, maximum speed stuff. If back when I was 21, I was doing a couple of those leg swings and I was doing 10, I might just do 15 or 20 now, just to make sure. It's not going to fatigue me, but just making sure everything you do in the warm-up is adequate, or the volume of stuff that you're doing in the warm-up is adequate, and the specific stuff that you're doing is right for this. You are never going to be annoyed that you did too much work at the beginning of kind of an explosive, dynamic athleticism session, to make sure that your tissues are actually ready for this. Not when you're pushing 40. So we're going to do some rolling hundreds. So no bends to start with. Let's see how we get on in the next 20 minutes. I'm not going to track anything in terms of speed or kind of cadence or anything on my watch. I don't really want to be listening or paying attention to data for this. I kind of more want to be focused on just how it feels and kind of grooving the movement pattern and getting used to the mechanics of what it's like to actually be running quick. So got my Apple Watch on. It's not really going to be particularly helpful in something that's as explosive as this. Knees up, chin up, chest up, a couple of rolling hundreds, let's get it done. During the run, I'm not going 100%. Like, this is not, I'm not trained, or even if I do this fairly frequently and every rep is RPE, fucking bleeding from the eyeballs. It's not really that. It's the movement patterns of running at 80% speed plus is just different to like jogging. Obviously there's less rotation, far more aggressive arm drive, you're a little bit taller. Foot like planting position in terms of contact with the ground is a little bit different. Everything's a little bit different. So in terms of getting up to top speed, rolling into it slowly, but I'm only really having like 1 or 2 steps at the velocity that I even want to hit, which is around kind of 80 to 85%. Because you get 99% of the benefits by doing that, compared to if you just really try and go fully balls out, which is the thing that's going to make everything go ping. Your Achilles tendons, you know, popliteals, your hamstrings. So you don't need to hit top speed, but at the same time, if most people are only running at 20% the speed they could run at, they're not going to get any athleticism benefits. So you can get all the benefits with literally kissing the bottom of like somewhere to, you know, 80 to 85% top velocity. Only hit that for a few strides, and you're still getting all the benefits from that.
Breaking the fourth wall of the whole thing, this entire video is pretty embarrassing for me, actually, to come from a sprinting and long jumping and a predominantly very bouncy, elastic, athletic background. Seeing how poorly I am able to even stride right now is not fun to watch back, and it's definitely not fun to be part of in the moment. But this is raw. I'm not pretending to be an elite athlete right now or an influencer of any kind. I am a pretty beaten up former Marine, former athlete, and currently held together by sellotape, blue tack, and prayers. But I won't let this go. Athleticism is absolutely crucial, and it's so easy to become detrained in this domain, and it's really hard to get back. And I have lost it, and I take full responsibility for that. It's completely my fault, but I am doing what I believe I need to do to get it back. But I'm here waiting patiently for the resurgence of athleticism in any flipping domain for people over the age of 30 to become something that's remotely trendy again. And I can't wait for people to go into the gym and, in addition to saying, what's your squat, what's your bench, what's your half marathon, to be like, hey bro, can't help but notice you've got long Achilles tendons and deep hip sockets and a thick hamstring muscle belly. What's your broad jump, or what's your 100 or even your 400 meter time? I want that to be as common a question in the general three-dimensional functional fitness space as what's your maximum squat, snatch, or handstand walk distance PB. So let's wrap it up there, team. As always, any questions on anything at all, please just put it down in the comment section below. Requests or suggestions of anything that you'd like me to do or anything you'd like me to cover or see in the future, please put that down in the comment section as well. And as always, keep training, keep exploring, and stay ready.